Now let us see what are the requirements for configuring and using business role management tool, right? So one of the post installation steps that you need to perform is to assign connectors to connector groups, right? If you have done ARA module, you would have already done this. But so let us quickly do this, see where it is done anyway. Okay, so in this video, we're going to see how we can assign connectors to your connector groups. So go to Pro, SPR, transaction SPRO. Go to IMG. Now remember, connectors are your RFC connections, okay? So go to governance, risk and compliance, and all these tasks are done in the GRC system. Okay, so from a parameter standpoint, you'll have a couple of scenarios where you may have to set something up and some parameters in the plugin systems also. But otherwise, most of your GRC configuration is done in your GRC system. Access control configuration, that's what I mean, is done in the GRC system. So click on governance, risk and compliance. That's what you did. And now come to common component settings. Okay, and there you go to integration framework, and then you can create a connector. Creating connectors means you have to create an RFC connection between your GRC system and your plugin system. Okay, but once you have done that, okay, you have to maintain those connectors with connector types. Okay, and the connector group is part of this step. So click on maintain connectors and connection types. You'll have, depending on what environments you could use, you could use different connection types here. So our connection type is SAP. Select that and double click on define connectors. Okay. Now when you define connectors, you will see originally you will see some blank screen here, but you can create your own connectors, entries here. So you click on new entries, and our connector that we have is this one. Okay, so we already created this. So once you create new entries, you get all these columns. Okay, so in the target connector column field, source connector field, and logical connector field, you enter the RFC connection that you have created. Okay, in the first step. So when you click on new entries, so you pick your target connectors, which is basically your RFC destinations that you have created. So we go and pick what we have done. We are not going to complete this step because this has already been done. But anyway, so what you do is you go and pick your connector. Ours was EHP CLNT, this one, and then you pick the connection type, which is going to be SAP. And then in our case, but if you have an LDAP integration done, you can use LDAP. If you have identity management, you can use identity management. You have to define the connectors, okay, and the connection, assign the first create the connectors for each of the systems, and then assign it to this connector groups individually. Okay, so anyway, so you do that, and in the remaining source connector field and the logical port field, you can enter the RFC destination name again. And the maximum, you can specify the number of background work processes that you want to allocate. Okay, so let's say because we have 3, we say 3 here, that's okay. But anyway, so once you save it, you will be prompted to enter a transport request or create a transport request. And this is what you see. Okay, this is what you see. Now, so this is how you define connectors, right? So once you do that, let's see what happens when you click here. There's nothing, so you don't need to do this particular step, but you select your connector and say create connector groups. Okay. So here you can create your own logical connector group. Okay. Now you can click on new entries and you can create your own connector group if you want. So save it, but we are not creating our own custom one. We're going to use what SAP gives you. Okay, these all are part of the BC sets. Okay, when you activate ARA related access risk analysis related BC sets, all this the master data will come into the system. Okay, so we're going to use this, and then let's go and click on assign connector groups to connect group types. Okay, once you do that, this is a logical group. So what is a logical group? A logical connector group is basically used for by risk analysis ARM tool for performing risk analysis based on the systems that are going to be connectors that are going to be assigned to this group. Okay, so when I say connectors, basically they are systems, right? Your plugin systems. But like what we are doing is ECC system, and but if your GRC landscape includes BI system also, you could create, you can assign the BI system connector RFC destination to this particular connector group. So that becomes a logical group. Okay, so the logical groups are used for and risk analysis purposes. Okay, for when the different landscapes or different environment systems that are part of this group. So select the logical group and double click on assign connectors to the connector group. And here, click on new entries and you add your system. Okay, your target connector again, like what we did here, right? There are 4 systems that are added. So this is our system, and this is a client which we created in the GRC system itself. So what we are trying to say here is, in the GRC environment, we are also including GRC system also as part of a GRC landscape. Okay, for risk analysis or BRM or EM, whatever. Okay, so this even we are performing access control related activities, using some of these tools in the GRC system also. So we created, there are 4 entries here, but to create a new entry, click on new entries, enter your target connector, what you have, right? And you had sent the connector, what is the connection type, which is SAP, right? So now, if you click on this, right, let's say you only go and get a limited number of connectors here, right? You don't get everything that is there in SM59. So why is that so? Okay, so let's go and check define connectors. So whatever you define here, right, as defined in this step in new entries, that is what you're going to get seen assign connectors node. Okay, so one of the first steps after installing GRC is to create the connectors and then assign the connectors to connector groups. Okay, so that's what we need to do. Okay, this is one of the prerequisites for all the modules. Okay, whether it is ARA, EAM or BRM, you need to assign a connector to a connector group.